Yeah? Go?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, folks. Here I am again. Not seeing very well today because I've had my eyes worked on. Some of the things that people wonder about is we never talk about the ocean or what goes on in the ocean or what might be way down deep in the ocean. Now, we've talked about Bigfoot, we've talked about Atlantis. Did we talk about Atlantis? Yeah, we talked about Atlantis. If not, we'll talk about it again. But there is another continent that supposedly got sunk in the Pacific Ocean, which had a tip on India and a tip on Malaysia, and what's left of it in Hawaii. So some of the Hawaiians are perhaps related to people in this continent, which got submerged very rapidly one time, and that continent is called Lamuria. It's also called the continent of Mu, M-U. That's not very creative, is it? But that's what it's called. So we don't know very much about it, except some of the interesting kinds of relics that got left around on the different lands that are still above water. Of course, we don't know how much they're going to stay above water or whether there's going to be new ones come up. But it's one of those long-range kinds of things that also tends to happen overnight. So, the ocean is one of the things that we just have a hard time understanding. And, just recently there were some folks that tended to think that they could outsmart the pressure of the ocean, and that didn't work for them at all. And they were going to go down and see the Titanic. Well, I guess they did, but we don't know whether they did or not. And but they got down to where it was. And of course, there are two sections of the Titanic, and I'm not probably authorized to talk much about that sort of thing. But there's also no light down there unless you run into one of these fish that have the little lantern on it, like this. They go around the bottom of the ocean looking for stuff, and they have this lantern on it, and they have great huge teeth, and I presume that that's so that they can snag something to stay alive, to eat, stay alive. So that's one of the things that's down there, but there's also a great mass of geography and a great mass of minerals, a whole new thing that can be done to help us out here on top of the earth, to make things, to live, and to try to organize ourselves in some rational way. That would be something different, of course, since most countries don't organize themselves in a very rational way. And you see a lot of that going on right now. And one of the things that people tend to do, even though they're a democracy, they tend to make laws. You've heard people say, when something happens, they say, well, there ought to be a law against that. Well, enough of that gets said, and pretty soon a legislator proposes a bill, and there is a law. So there's more laws. I picked up an American law book. It's just American kind of an encyclopedia sort of thing, and it's about that thick, American law. And I in no way want to try to understand that or to read it all. I can't read it all anyway, you know. But I could hear it. I could hear it from a recording, and that would be very interesting. But we're a unique country, and we go with our democracy, and we make more laws, and we do more stuff. I think it's France. This could be wrong, but I think France has the thing like three judges, and they are ruled by statute law. And you know what a statute is. That's a law that gets made and put on the books. That's a statute. As opposed to precedent law, which is, that's one that has been adjudicated before. Say, well, no, a case was, and they decided this and decided that. And so, because of that, it's a precedent, and we got to decide that as well. So that's a whole interesting thing. Now that I don't know how I got from the ocean to law, except that there's a lot to be said for what's going to happen when we have the instrument and the vehicles, the kinds of things that can go down into the ocean and harvest minerals and harvest probably a multitude of other things that could be of great benefit to us humans if we take care of it. Well, another thing is, let's see, what is another thing? AI is something that folks are very concerned about. Recently, it's come more on the media than before, it seems like, and what to do about that. And of course, everybody is scared about losing jobs. You see, well, if a robot, and a robot, you know, is like in manufacturing, can be something that just goes like this all day long, and that's a robot. But there's the other kind of robot that you plant programming into of intelligence, so to speak, so that they can do different tasks and maybe respond to us as human beings in a constructive way, in a peaceful way. We don't want AI, we don't want robots in there that are going to say, well, you know, these humans don't know much. We can take over where they are. That won't be much trouble at all. We don't want to do that. And the way to do that is to screen your programmers. You know, everybody's always getting screened about something or other. In this case, it's extremely important to do that, at least at the beginning. Then you know what? You could program AI robots that can do the screening. How about that? They can take care of themselves. But you got to watch out because you don't want them to take over things like government, city things, mostly I just don't want them to take over. Uh, it, it goes into education as well. And something that I've been trying to talk about some is what are you going to do when there are robots? I don't know what you're going to do. Just watch? What are you going to do? Are you going to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do? Or that they operate the way they're supposed to operate? Or is some corporation going to have the control over the what they do? Like, for instance, the electric companies. Who has control over that? A few organizations. Do we have control over it? No. No. Would they have control over it? Yes. So that'd be something we've got to watch and be very careful about. And one of the things we don't want to have done is to harm human beings for any reason. Some bright person might want to fix up a robot to say, well, if they're bad folks, they do bad things, we'll just let the robot take care of them. No, that won't work. We can't do that at all. We have to have the human relationship to maintain that as a very strong bond. So, there's lots of things to think about. The thing about AI, though, is that we're sitting here, AI's coming up all over the place, robotic arms are operating all over the country in manufacturing and other things. And we just say, well, gee, what are we going to do when they take over? What are we going to do? Well, what we're going to do, if we got any brains at all, is we're going to start thinking about that right now. We should have started thinking about that for a long time ago. And there have been some scientists that have proposed various sorts of ideas to bring a culture into bearing so that people can all eat, can all have an income of sorts, but all be okay and be alive and be well and maybe even be happy. And that's all for today, folks.